Hi everyone, I welcome you to our YouTube channel. So before you can continue watching this video, make sure that you like the video and also subscribe to our channel. You may also share the video with your friends or your classmates. So in today's video, we are going to talk about Euclidean geometry, or what we call circle geometry. So the first thing that you should understand with this topic is how to interpret a circle and the parts that are in a circle. So let's start by analyzing or interpreting a circle. So the first part that we should understand in a circle is what we call a circumference. So a circumference of a circle is a perimeter or a boundary line which forms a circle. It's a boundary line of a circle. So we are talking about all this part that is a circumference of a circle. Is a boundary line which forms a circle. Another thing that you should also know about a circle is an arc. So an arc, we are referring to a portion of the circumference of a circle. An arc is a portion of the circumference of the circle, which means it's just a part of the circumference but not the whole circumference. So it can be from here, it's just a part of the circumference but not the whole of a circumference. So another part of a circle that you should also know is a diameter. So a diameter is a line which joins 2 points on the circumference, but this line have to passes through the center of the circle. In other words, a diameter cuts the circle into equal parts, or it bisects the circle, if I may say. So let's have a point which is A on the circumference and another point which is B. So a line which is joining these 2 points and passing through the center, that line we call it a diameter. So that's what a diameter is. Another important part of a circle you should know is a radius. So a radius is just a line from center to a point on the circumference of the circle. So it's a line from center to a point on the circumference of the circle. So this is a radius. Another part of a circle that you should also know is a chord. So a chord is also a line which joins 2 points on the circumference of the circle, but this line does not passes through the center of the circle. So we can have another point which is P and another point on the circumference which is Q. So a line which is joining these 2 points, we call it a chord. So the difference between a diameter and a chord is that a diameter passes through the center, but a chord does not pass through the center. So that's the difference, because both of them, they are joining 2 points on the circumference, but the other one passes through the center and the other one does not. So these are some of the parts of the circle that you should be familiar with. So let us talk about some theorems that we have. So the first theorem that I'm going to talk about is this. If we have a line which is drawn from center perpendicular to the chord, that line will bisect the chord. So if a line is drawn from the center of the circle, from the center of a circle perpendicular to the chord, then that line, it will bisect the chord. It will bisect the chord, which means it will divide the chord into equal parts. To bisect is to divide something into equal parts. So that's what this theorem says. So let's have a circle and a point here at the center, and another chord we can have, it's AB. So if we have a line which is drawn from center perpendicular to this chord, so let's say this is O. So is that this line which is from center perpendicular to the chord, it will also bisect the chord. That means AD will be equals to DB. The reason for this is because we have a line from center that is perpendicular to a chord. Perpendicular to a chord. So if a line is drawn from center perpendicular to the chord, that line will also bisect the chord. So that's what this theorem says. Let us try to do some questions using this theorem. Let's have a circle here and a chord. Here we can say this is PQ and the center here, and let's say this is O, and let's say this line continues until point S, and then here we can have point R. Given that that line is perpendicular to PQ, then say here we have X, here we have Y, here we have Z, and this is 35 units, and RS 25 units. And the question says find the values of x, y, and z given that O is the center of the circle. So the first thing we notice in this circle is that we have a chord which is PQ, because if you look at line PQ, it joins 2 points on the circumference of the circle, and it does not pass through the center, so that is a chord. And when you look at OR, that is a line from center, and it is also perpendicular to the chord. So if you have a line from center that is perpendicular to the chord, OR is a line from center which is perpendicular to PQ, so it will bisect that chord, which means PS will be equals to RQ, because we have a line from center that is perpendicular to the chord. So that line will also bisect the chord. So that means PS and RQ, they are equal. So PS, it's X, and then RQ is 35 units. So that's the value of X. Now we need to find the value of X, the value of Y and Z, since we have X. So when you look at OP and OS, they are both radius of the circle, because OP is a line from center to a point on the circumference, as well as OS. So radius of the circle are equal, which simply means that OP is equals to OS. Those are the radii. So now OP is Y, and then OS, it's formed by OR plus RS, and OR is Z plus RS is 25. That is given. So now to find Z and Y, we're going to use this right angle triangle that we have, which is triangle POR. That's a right angle triangle, so we can use the theorem of Pythagoras. So we're going to say Y squared is equals to X squared plus Z squared. That's a Pythagoras theorem. And then Y, we have that it is Z plus 25 squared equals to X. We've got it already, is 35 squared plus Z. We don't have the value of Z, so we're going to say Z squared. So now when we simplify, you're going to have Z squared plus 50Z plus 625 equals to 35 squared will give us 1225 plus Z squared. And then now Z squared and Z squared, they'll give us 0. So we have 50Z on the left hand side. We'll take 625 to the right hand side, and it will subtract 1225, and then we're going to get 600. So when we divide both sides here by 50, Z will be 12 units. So as for Y, we have made it clear that Y is equals to Z plus 25. So therefore, Y will be equals to 12 plus 25, which will give us 37 units. So that is how we can find the value of X, Y, and Z. So if you want more videos like this, make sure that you like this video and also subscribe to our channel. We also have extra classes for grade 10 to grade 12 maths and physical sciences. So if you want more information, you can WhatsApp me or text me at this number 066 276 4810. Thanks for watching this video.